Hello there, welcome back to my channel, and this time I'm doing something different I haven't done before. Like I said in my last video, what I'm going to do is go through the whole retirement list of what's retiring this year, but look back in the past and see if I can find something that matches it or closely resembles it or is very similar to it, to try and give us an idea about whether it's a good idea to invest in it because of what's happened in the past, to see whether that did well or not, so whether it's a good idea to invest in that set or not. I mean, obviously I know that if you go further back, to 10, 15, 20 years, it's not a very good comparison because it's a different time now than what it was back then. Some of the sets would do well, but they only sold maybe 2,000 sets or whatever it is, whereas now obviously they're selling 120,000 or 200,000 or whatever it is of different sets. So there was less people buying it then, but now I'm trying to do more information to try and give you an idea of whether it's a good idea to invest in that set or not. Obviously some sets you won't get a comparison. Some sets are just, Lego have just designed it for this year and there's nothing similar to compare it to, so it won't be every single set. It just will be kind of like maybe 1 in 2, 1 in 3 or something like that, But some of the sets have got 2 or 3 comparisons, so yeah, we'll see how it goes anyway. I've just sort of think it'd be an idea to have a look, and whether it'll be helpful or not, I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so as usual, when we do these lists, it always starts off with Star Wars. The first one is the 40755, the Imperial Dropship versus Rebel Scout Speeder, $34.99. Now there's 3 sets that are comparable to that one. There's 75262, which is an Imperial dropship, but that's a 20th anniversary edition, and that one retired in 2019. It cost $19.99 to buy, and now is valued at £36. Now when it came out, it was classed as a good investment, and it's actually increased by 80%, and it sold 11,307 sets. Now the next one as a comparison is 7667, which obviously means it was a bit longer ago because it's only got 4 numbers. And that's an Imperial dropship. That retired in 2009. That was £9.79 to buy, but now is worth £55. That was also classed as a good investment when it came out, and it's increased 460%, and it sold 8,752 sets. And the last one as a comparison is 7668, which is a Rebel Scout Speeder. That also retired in 2009. That was $9.79 to buy as well. Now it's worth £44. Now that one wasn't classed as a good investment or anything. It just retired, whatever. And that actually increased by 346%, and it sold 9,722 sets. Obviously these sold numbers are the same as what I've been saying in my other videos. It only applies to the countries that I mentioned before and the companies that I mentioned before, Amazon, eBay, StockX and that kind of thing. So you've got to do the same thing again by times it by 4 or whatever it is like that. So the next one to compare is 75304, the Darth Vader helmet, which is $69.99. Now I've compared it with a Stormtrooper because obviously if you're going to display them, I mean obviously I know people are going to want to have one of every helmet or whatever, but I think at least if you're going to have Darth Vader, you're going to want a Stormtrooper to go next to him. So I've got the comparison of a Stormtrooper, but obviously you can look back at any of the helmets and get an idea of what it does things, apart from obviously the pilot, which is the original. So that was 75276. That retired in 2022. It was £54.99 to buy, and now it's worth £142. That was classed as a very good investment, and it's increased by 158%, and it's sold 27,465 sets. The next one is 75331, the Razor Crest, $519.99. Now there's only one comparison, which is the Mandalorian Razor Crest. Now it's only retired in 2023, so it's a bit early, and also this one is a lot less value. It was only £120 to buy instead of the £520 to buy, but it's the only comparison that I've got. So that's 75292, and like I say, it retired in 2023. It was £119.99 to buy, and now is valued at 108. So that's actually a loss of when it came out. It was classed as a good investment, but it's actually lost 10%. And they sold 40,342 sets. Next one is 75354, the Corissant Guard gunship, $129.99. There's actually 4 comparisons for this one. The first one is 75021, which retired in 2014. That's a Republic gunship. That was $109.99 to buy, and now is valued at $512. That was given a good investment, and it's increased by 365%. It sold 8,581 sets. The next comparison is obviously, I was going to say, do it all, 7676. The next comparison is retired in 2010. That was $84.99 to buy, and now it's valued at $581. That was also given a classification of a good investment, and that's increased by 583%, but it sold only 6,004 sets. Next one is 75046, that retired in 2015. That was $49.99 to buy. That's increased to £289. That was classed as a good investment, and that's increased by 478%. But there was only 2,859 sets. I didn't actually give the name of that one. That's the Coruscant Police gunship, and the one previous to that was a Republic attack gunship. And the last one is 75309, that retired in 2023. That was $344.99, and that's a Republic gunship, and now is only valued at $355. That was classed as a good investment, but it's only increased by 3%. They sold 17,923 sets. The next one is 75355, the X-Wing Starfighter, the $209.99 one. There's 2 comparisons for that one. First one is 75218, X-Wing Starfighter. That retired in 2019. It was $89.99 to buy, and it's increased up to £100. So it's only gone up 11, and it's sold 8,991. And the other one is 10240, the Red 5 X-Wing Starfighter. That retired in 2015. That was $169.99 to buy, and now is valued at $194. So that's only gone up in 14%, and there was 7,719 sets sold. Next one will be an interest to quite a lot of people, is 75357, the Ghost of Phantom 2, $149.99. Now the first one to compare with is 75053, that retired in 2015, and that's the Rebels, the Ghost. That was $69.99 to buy, and now is valued at £451, which is an increase of 544%, and it's sold 6,400 sets. The next one isn't really a comparison, but it gives you a little idea. 75127, it retired in 2016, and that's a microfighter of the Ghost. That was $8.99 to buy, but it's gone up to £34. So that's increased by 276%. When it sold 5,336 sets. Next one is, let's see, am I holding that right around? That one. Actually bought 3 of these from B&M for £30. So that one is 75376 Tantive 4, $69.99, or like me, 30 quid. So the first comparison is 75244, which is the Tantive 4. That retired in 2020. It was £180 to buy, and now it's valued at £229. That's a 27% increase, and it sold 13,351 sets. Next one is 10198. That retired in 2012. That was £122.99 to buy, and now is valued at £292. And that was also a good investment. Increased by 137%, but it only sold 2,821 sets. Right. So the next one is 75378, the Bark Speeder Escape, $24.99. There's only one comparison with that one, and that's 75012, which is the Bark Speeder with sidecar. That's as close as I could get it. That retired in 2014. It was £24.99 to buy, and now is valued at £296. That's an increase of 1,084%, and it sold 5,791 sets. These sets, I mean, obviously some of them are quite old, but if you look into them, you know, this month or last month or the last 90 days, there's 10, 12, 15 of them sold on sites like eBay and Amazon, you know, so you think that you know, they won't be floating around much because they're, you know, they're from 2010 or 2008 or whatever it is like that. But when you look into it, there is quite a lot of them around that are, you know, being sold at these prices. So it's surprising actually. Anyway, next one is 75380, the Moss Esper Pod Race Diorama, $69.99. Now there's only one comparison, which is 7171, and that's the Moss Esper Pod Race. That was retired in 2001. It was £71 to buy, but now is valued at £316. When that was out, it was classed as a good investment. It's increased by 344%, and 3,552 sets were sold. The next one is 75381, the Droid Dicker, $59.99. There's three comparisons for that one, all pretty old, but anyway. The first one is 8002, which retired in 2002. That was £39 to buy. It's now £237. And that was called a Destroyer Droid. It's now, it's gone up basically 500%. 2,473 sets were sold. Next comparison is 7681, which retired in 2009. That was £21 to buy, and now you're looking at 355. That was classed as a good investment when it came out, and that increased by 1,554%, and that sold 4,334 sets. And the last comparison is 7748. That was retired in 2010. That was a tank droid. Sorry, the previous one was a spider droid. I keep missing out putting the names. Yeah, so this one is a tank droid, retired in 2010. It was £24.99 to buy. It's now you're looking at £109. So that's gone up 336%, or roughly percentage. That was 7,562 sets sold. Next one is 75383, the Darth Maul Sith Infiltrator, $59.99. Now obviously the value of that thing's been going up and down because of the figures and that kind of thing, but if you just take it as face value, you know. So there's two comparisons for that one. The first one is 75096, which retired in 2016. That was the Sith Infiltrator. That was £85 to buy. Now you're looking at £159. That was classed as a good investment when it retired. It's gone up 87%. It sold 2,893 sets. And the next comparison is 7961, which retired in 2012. It was £60 to buy, but now you're looking at £135. That was also classed as a good investment, and that's gone up roughly 125%, and it sold 5,201 sets. And the last one that I can find of the Star Wars to try and find comparisons is 75396, the Desert Skiff and Sarlacc Pit, $69.99. The first comparison is 75174, which retired in 2019, and that was called the Desert Skiff Escape. That was £30 to buy, and now you're looking at 55. So that's gone up by 85%, and it sold 4,573 sets. And the last comparison is 9496, which retired in 2014. That was £25 to buy, now you're looking at £49. So that's gone up 94%, and it sold 10,279 sets. Obviously with this video I've just rounded up, or roughly, the percentages, so I've just done an even number, and a lot of the amounts, it was £24.99 or something like that, I've just put £25 or whatever like that, so I've just rounded up the numbers, except for the sold numbers. I didn't round those up, they're exact so far anyway. So what I'm going to continue doing is go all the way through. I mean, it takes a lot of work and a lot of hours to do it, just for the community to try and get an extra little bit of information to hopefully help you decide whether it's a good set or not. So yeah, it's taken a lot of time to do this, so I'm going to work my way through all the sets I can, but not all themes have got a comparison. Say for instance, Dreams, there's nothing to compare it to. Sonic, that kind of thing. Some of the other themes, there's just no sets to compare to, because there's nothing exactly the same. So some of the themes I've just had to skip completely, you know, things like Wednesday or that kind of thing. There is none that's retired recently or in the past, so there's nothing to compare it to. So it won't be as long as a full list of what's retiring from 2025. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.